Learn about the newest digital pathology trends in science and industry, meet the most interesting people in the niche, and gain insights relevant to your own projects. Here is where pathology meets computer science. You are listening to the Digital Pathology Podcast with your host, Dr. Alexandra Zhurav.
Hi everyone, this is Alexandra Zhurav. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Pathology Podcast. Today my guest is Dr. Rajendra Singh, one of the pioneers of digital pathology. He is a pathology and dermatopathology professor, author of various book chapters and scientific publications. He is on the editorial board of the WHO Cancer Series, but most importantly, he is the founder of various digital pathology apps and platforms. Imagine that you could learn pathology from anywhere in the world. Imagine that you could share and consult your cases with colleagues immediately, regardless of their location. Imagine that you could prepare seamless presentation with whole slide images integrated seamlessly. Well, you can do it all using the PathPresenter platform designed by our today's guest. Hi, Raj. It's great to have you on the podcast. Tell the listeners about yourself first.
Yeah, so thank you very much for doing this. I think this is an important way to let people know about why somebody wants to do something. So I work as a pathologist at Mount Sinai, New York. I have been there for almost now 9 years. Before that, I was working at the University of Pittsburgh, and I've also done a residency from India. So I've done a residency in pathology from India. I did the residency again in the US and then did a fellowship in dermatopathology at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2006 and 7.
So how long have you been a pathologist now?
I finished my first residency in 1995, so almost 25 years, so almost 25 years as a pathologist. Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of experience. So how did you get to the place where you are now? You say you're in Mount Sinai, New York?
Yep. Yeah. So when I finished my residency again in the US and I did my fellowship, after that I did a job for 3 years in a private setup, and then I immediately moved to an academic center because I was always interested in academics.
Mm-hmm.
So the first academic job that I had was at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. There, the digital pathology was a big thing even at that time. So this was way back in 2009. And even at that time, digital pathology was a big thing at University of Pittsburgh. And that is where I started getting very interested in technology and digital pathology.
Mm-hmm. So basically this 2009 would be the year of your first encounter with digital pathology?
That is right, yeah. During my first job at the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay, and what happened since then?
Yeah, so initially we started thinking how can we use all this technological stuff in building tools and platforms that could help in an academic setup. Because in an academic setup, the main things that we do are first, yes, we look at a lot of biopsies to make diagnosis and help the patient and the clinician.
Mm-hmm.
But the other main part of the job also involves a lot of teaching. So we teach a lot of residents, we have our own fellows, so there's a lot of teaching involved. And we've always used to think in how do we use technology to do this better actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that I built was an app called My Dermpath. This was an app that had the entire dermatology and dermpath on your phone. So you could just go into the application and find information about any diagnosis in dermatology or dermatopathology on your phone. So that means anywhere, anytime. And
is this still available?
It is still available. So you can go to the iTunes store and you can download it for free.
Uh-huh.
It is now the app is now owned by the American Academy of Dermatology because they had later on paid, they had given me money through the Sulzberger grant to make it better. Okay. And right now, I think it is their most downloaded app of all the apps that they have on the iTunes store.
Oh wow! And that was which year?
That was in 2010-11.
Okay. Already very
Uh,
early. Mm-hmm.
and after that, I moved to like Mount Sinai in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
But I had already gained a lot of experience in using and seeing digital pathology while I was at Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So the technology was very, very user friendly at that time even. And I used to use some of the slides for teaching. And whenever I used digital slides for teaching, the residents used to love that because they could see the slides themselves from even their even if they're not in the room, they were in somewhere else, they would just log into the computer, and the all the digital slides were being able to they were able to see those digital slides from anywhere on any computer, and that made them very excited about it. And so I understood the power of the technology, that this could actually make teaching a very, very easy and a better way to do actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you are teaching pathology, you are trying to show people slides, and when you are trying to show them slides, they have to be in the room. And because you're showing them on a microscope and you are pointing out features to them, and that is how they learn the best, or either on a two-edit scope or a multi-edit scope.
Mm-hmm.
And with digital pathology, they did not have to be in the room. They could be in another hospital, and we could still show them the same features on the slide through the computer and the cloud.
So I had this experience when I already was doing my residency, that the teaching was done partially under the microscope in the classroom, but everybody could later log into the digital version of the slides. And I wished so much I had that when I was studying, but doesn't matter because now I have it as well.
Yeah, and people really like that technology. So because I started liking digital pathology a lot and I wanted to use it for teaching, I started collecting cases from around the world actually. So whenever I met anybody, either I would ask them if they have any good glass slides or digital slides, and would they be able to share it for using it for teaching. So if people gave me a glass slide, I would then just find some person who has a scanner, and then either get the glass slide scanned, or either pay for it or get it scanned by because of some courtesy, or if they have a digital slide, get the slide from the person actually. And slowly I started building a collection of digital slides,
Mm-hmm.
and that was coming from all around the world. And these slides became a very, very useful resource for anybody to see. So whenever I showed those slides in the department or in a conference, people loved the collection because they were slides that had come from around the world. And then from there, the idea came that why not put them on the cloud and let everybody in the world use them for education.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how PathPresenter started, where we put up all these slides on the cloud. So initially the cloud that we got was, we were paying for a server that was in Dallas because that was the cheapest option available. And we put all the slides on that server in Dallas and let anybody, and then built a platform called PathPresenter where anybody could log in and then just click on the link to the slide and would be able to open the slide on the computer or on the mobile devices from anywhere.
So you are like a pioneer in this field, because this field is not so old. So 2011 is already like really the pioneer work. So
Yeah, no. So the PathPresenter actually started back like somewhere around 2013-14 actually, because but till then we were collecting the slides and putting all these slides and everything on the cloud and getting the software to work well. Took at least 2 years to build initially actually.
Mm-hmm. But like the base for this is your private collection of interesting cases from all over the world.
That is the base here.
Okay, wow, great. So tell me, who are you working with to develop the platform? Because I assume there is still a lot of maintenance work. You said 2 years to
Yeah, so
build it up.
so the platform was ready for launch in 2016. I used a couple of friends in the United States and some in India to help me build the software program. One of the residents at that time was Matthew Hanna, and he was also very interested in digital pathology. So he also helped in designing the platform of how it should work. And since then, Matthew and I have been working together on building this platform and trying to build more and more tools so that all the data that is available on the platform can be used in a very useful manner.
So at the moment, how many people are working on
So
this?
right now, because it has become such an extensive platform that is being used, so when we launched this in 2016, actually, for the first official launch of the program was in 2016. And then 2017, the FDA approved the Philips scanner for pathology use, and suddenly pathology became a very, like digital pathology became a very exciting thing for everyone around the world. And we were already live at that time, so more and more people started talking about PathPresenter in 2017. And then people started asking about security. So then we talked with Microsoft, and Microsoft actually gave us a lot of support, and they gave us a lot of credit so that we could move our entire platform to the Microsoft Azure cloud, which is a HIPAA compliant cloud.
Oh, okay. That is a very big advancement that it's HIPAA compliant.
So then everything was moved to the HIPAA compliant cloud from the private server in Dallas. And since then, we have just been expanding it in a big way, actually. So we have right now 16 engineers working out of India and the US that are helping us in building the backend software and making it into a much more usable and a workable platform.
Okay. It's user friendly. I can confirm that.
Yeah, the whole goal has been that it should always be suited to a pathology department or a hospital or an organization to use it in their workflow, basically. So we have always thought that how can we bring digital pathology into the workflow of pathologists, pathology departments, and pathology organizations, as well as hospitals who are like when a hospital is doing a tumor board, how do they bring the digital pathology into the tumor board? Or if a organization is doing a conference, how do they bring the digital pathology into the conference? So those are all the questions that we have tried to answer through the tools that we have built on PathPresenter.
Okay. So who is PathPresenter for? You mentioned a couple of groups, but like who is your target audience?
The main target audience is pathologists around the world, but the platform is also very useful for radiology people because it allows the easy upload and sharing of radiology DICOM images. So you can easily upload a CT scan and MRI scan into the system and share it with anybody around the world, and also put it into a presentation along with the pathology slides. So that is another group of people that are using PathPresenter. Another group of people are the medical colleges where they are trying to teach histology to the medical students. So there is a lot of medical schools that are using PathPresenter. And currently, because we have a lot of data into the system, a lot of researchers are becoming interested in the data that is available on PathPresenter. So it is medical schools, pathology departments, radiology departments, hospitals, pathology organizations, as well as computer science departments and researchers that are using digital pathology for their research.
Okay. Okay. Maybe you can quickly talk a little bit about the functionalities that you have within this platform.
So the PathPresenter has like multiple modules on it. The first module is a module called My Slide Box. So the My Slide Box is like anybody's storage system on the cloud. So if you are a pathologist, or if you are a researcher, or if you're a medical student, you have a file like on your computer where you have a file management system where you can create folders and subfolders and store all your data in those folders and subfolders. And now you can do that on the cloud using My Slide Box. So within My Slide Box, you could create folders, you could create subfolders, and then within those folders and subfolders, you can upload any kind of data, irrespective of the data size. So it could be whole slide images, which can range from 150 MB to almost 5 gigabytes. It could be radiology images, so all DICOM images. It could be a JPEG images. It could be your PDFs. Everything can be uploaded into the My Slide Box. and you can then access them by just logging into PathPresenter from anywhere in the world.
Okay.
So it is like your own hard drive that you have put on the cloud, which allows access to your own cases and to the public cases that are being shared on the PathPresenter cloud for you to access from anywhere. Also within My Slide Box, you have tools to share slides. You have tools to convert the shared link into a QR code. You have tools for sharing folders. So you can actually immediately share a slide with anybody around the world. So if you want to show a case to somebody and you want an opinion from your mentor or your colleague or somebody who's sitting in another continent, you could easily upload a slide and then the person would get the link to the slide within 5 seconds. On their mobile devices, they could open the slide and immediately call you back.
Okay.
So it provides a lot of tools for sharing of your own data with around the world. The one thing is that once you upload a slide into or any kind of data into My Slide Box, it doesn't automatically become the property of PathPresenter.
Okay.
You have to specifically mention, like you have to specifically click 2 buttons to share, to like say that I want to share this slide with the world. And once you click on that button and you agree that you want to share the slide, then it goes into an open library and anybody can then see the slide if they want, and they can use it for teaching.
Okay. So basically your things stay yours unless you decide otherwise.
Unless you decide otherwise. So if you say, I don't want to share this slide with anybody, you can just upload it into My Slide Box and nobody else, unless somebody has your username and password, will be able to see that slide.
Okay.
You can still share the slide with anybody around the world. So if you put in an email that I want to share this slide with so-and-so person, only that person will be able to see a link to the slide, but nobody else. But if you want to share the slide with everybody around the world, you want to say like, let anybody use this slide for teaching or for education, you can then add it to the public library. So once you say, I want to add the slide to the public library, it will go to a queue. Every Saturday, an editorial board will look at all the slides that you have uploaded into the system for sharing. And once the editorial board approves that slide is okay to go into the library, the slide will then become available to the entire world for use in education and for presentations.
So this is My Slide Box.
That is the My Slide Box. The next tool is the slide library that you see, My Slide Library, which will give you access to all the cases that I have put from my own collection, as well as many people around the world have shared a lot of digital slides with us that they want anybody in the world to use. So currently there are around 15,000 plus slides in PathPresenter that you can just log in and then immediately get access to, either see them with the diagnosis or use them for teaching or for learning or for presentations and conferences.
So 15,000 slides. And how many users do you have in the platform?
Right now, according to Google Analytics, we have around 74,800 users from 164 countries.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's
Thank you very much.
Very big pathology community that is using PathPresenter.
No, it has been a very exciting journey, and the emails and the feedback that we are getting around from the world is what keeps us going, and also gives us a lot of feedback on how we can make the system better. So we take all the feedback that we get very seriously and we discuss it as a group. And if we think that this is a very useful thing that will be that would help anybody else to use the system in a better way, we definitely then try to get that advice that we get into the system. So that is the My Slide library. Many people also use the slide library to take pictures of slides. So if you are writing an article or if you are building a PowerPoint about some entities that you do not have a slide about. So if I'm writing an article on infections, and I do not have slide of let's say protothecosis, which is not a very common diagnosis. So why I can just go into PathPresenter, type in protothecosis into the slide library, and I find a slide there. Once I open up the slide, there is a camera button on the top of the viewer. So you can then zoom into whatever level you want, and then click on that camera button, and it will immediately capture the screen and give you a very high quality image of the screen, which you can then use for either your publications or your presentations. So that is another way. Many I've received requests from many authors also when they are writing book chapters that can we use your system to take some pictures, and we always tell them you can go ahead and use them if you acknowledge that this has been taken from PathPresenter, well and good, and if you don't, we are not going to come after you basically.
That is great, because this is one of the big challenges when you like have knowledge but don't have cases of your own, or you cannot use the cases of your own. So 15,000 cases to choose from is a great thing.
So that is the My Slide box, and then you have the My Presentations, which is the most widely used tool on the system. Currently on the PathPresenter server, there are 152,000 presentations that people have made actually. So the presentation that we have is around 152,000. So, and it is very easy to make a very spectacular presentation in the system, because you can now integrate PowerPoints with digital slides, with videos, with radiology images, with JPEG images, all in one seamless flow actually. So it would be like one PowerPoint slide, the next click would open up a digital slide, the next click could open up a radiology slide. So it is, otherwise it is very cumbersome when people are trying to add digital slides to their presentation. They would actually first build a PowerPoint, and then when they're presenting, they would like click the button where the PowerPoint would then come down and the digital slide will open up. So within this system now, it is just one seamless click, one after the other. So you easily can build a presentation where just using the right click, you move from one PowerPoint slide into a digital slide, into a PowerPoint slide. So it makes it very, very user friendly to make a presentation that includes not static images, but actual digital slides within your presentation.
I think this would be something that the conference organizers should require from the presenters, because many times at the conferences, you're like waiting for one program to, like you said, PowerPoint to go down, then look at the digital slide. So
this tool is very commonly used around the world, and right now even some conferences like annual meetings of some big organizations are already using it for their conferences. So in the conferences, if they have a pathology session, they are asking their presenters to actually go ahead and build the presentation using the PathPresenter software. They are also a major conference last year also used it to put around like 100 slides into a presentation, and then share those 100 slides with all the attendees. They could actually see all the slides from anywhere in the world. And then when they came to the conference, the presenters actually went through the same 100 slides with the attendees. So the attendees could preview the slides from anywhere in the world. Then they come to the conference, and then the presenters actually went through those same slides. And when they go back, they can see the slides again. So there's a preview. Then in the meeting, you go through the slides, and then there's a post review. So there's a lot of learning that can happen using the system, My Presentation tool.
This really sounds great.
In the presentations, you can also create videos of your own presentation. So there's a button that will allow you to screen capture and voice capture. So you could make a presentation while sitting at home and then put it on YouTube or Facebook for anybody to see the presentation. So you'll have a video of your own presentation that you can put out.
Yeah, that's great as well. I might use this one soon. It's on YouTube.
There are other tools like My Quizzes and My Self-Assessments, where you can create quizzes and self-assessments. The difference in the self-assessment and the quiz is that in the quiz section, when you build a quiz, you can then assign a quiz to a specific person. So in a department, if the faculty comes in, they build a quiz, they can then assign the quiz to all the residents, and the residents will get a notification that so and so faculty have built a quiz for you, go ahead and do it. So once they do the quiz, the faculty then gets feedback that the resident has completed the quiz, so they can go in and then give an assessment of how the resident did, and the program director would actually get a graph of how the resident did throughout the year.
Oh wow!
So that is a complete like a quiz and a test taking module that any department can use for assessing the residents basically.
With analytics, that's nice.
Yeah, with analytics. And the self-assessment is like anybody can log in and do so if I build a self-assessment and put it out, anybody would be able to log in and then do the self-assessment, and they would immediately get a feedback that they got 8 out of 10 right or 9 out of 10 right. And they would also get the list of the right and the wrong answers. And if the person who prepared the self-assessment put an explanation as why something is wrong and why something is right, they would be able to see the explanation also immediately. So there is no feedback from somebody else. You just go and get feedback on your own, basically, in the self-assessment.
Okay, just for studying on your own.
On your own.
So what is the goal of this platform for you? Do you have a specific goal?
The goal is, the main goal is intelligent distribution of data so that people can use it for promoting pathology and medical education. So that is the main goal. How do we intelligently distribute data that the entire world is ready to provide, and get it to people who really need that data? So there are many places, even if you take some advanced countries like the US, there are many departments that might not be strong in something. So the department might not have a very good renal pathology department. Their department might not have a very strong dermatopathology department. I'm talking about departments in the US. So if you move out of the US, there are many places in the world that do not have access to very good data. So it is now very easy to find the data. So you don't have to have a scanner. You don't have to have the slides. You just go into the system and I say, I want to see cases of dermatopathology. So they just come into PathPresenter, and there are 3,000 plus slides of dermatopathology with the diagnosis on them. So there is no dearth of data that you have access to now. And that is the whole purpose, to get the data to everyone around the world. And because we know residents cannot go through so many cases during their training, and a pathologist cannot go, there is a section called high yield section. So the high yield cases are cases that are bread and butter cases that every resident or pathologist should definitely know. And we, as an academician, we know the best way to teach is when we are teaching on a multi-edit scope, pointing out features to them. So the multi-edit scope actually is converting your microscope into converting your computer into a multi-edit scope that has heads all around the world actually. So I am sitting in my basement today and teaching the entire world. So everybody, even a person sitting in India, sitting in South Africa, is actually sitting on the same multi-edit scope that I am teaching from, using the high yield cases. So the high yield cases are annotated cases. So anybody can open up the case info button and they will see a microscopic description, and the microscopic description is annotated to the slide. So it is like a multi-edit scope on the cloud.
This is me personally. I like it so much because I am now a board certified pathologist, but I had to go to a different country to get this education. If there was a possibility to do it online, maybe I wouldn't have to emigrate. And maybe in my case, I want it anyway, but there are plenty of people who do want this kind of education, the quality education, but cannot do what I did, what you did, go to another country. So that's why I'm very, very happy that this is developing so well.
No, there are like 50 authors that have developed the high yield cases. So you have authors from Harvard, you have authors from UPenn that have built those high yield cases. And they are cases that have been annotated by this very high profile authors. So they are, and they are available to anyone. So you just have to log in, go into high yield cases, and you will see those cases there.
So tell me, what was or what is still the greatest challenge in working on the platform?
I think the greatest challenge that we see that people, when they want to use PathPresenter, is the speed of because these are big slides.
Mm-hmm.
These are big images, and you can compress the images to a certain extent, but you cannot compress it to that much that you lose the quality of the image.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever people are trying to access this from places where the internet or the bandwidth speed is a little bit low, it becomes a little bit difficult for these cases to open up. So we are trying to build technologies that can compress the image to a very minimal amount, but still maintain the quality of the image. So that is our biggest challenge of how do we build a software program that could compress these huge slides into smaller images, but still maintain the quality as well as the usability of the image in a way that it still would feel like digital pathology.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the general biggest challenge in the digital pathology world, how to have these images more nimble, how to send them around and how to work with them.
But we are trying to crack this. So we are trying to build the software program that would actually compress this image to quite a bit, so that they would be able to be open up even if the bandwidth and the internet speed is low.
Okay, that is good. I hope it works fast. So tell me, what went wrong? Did you have any failures or like bad experiences during this project that help you learn something?
Yeah, the biggest challenge that we always have faced is like in two areas basically. One is when you are building these presentations,
Mm-hmm.
The way we can integrate all these different image formats into one single presentation has been a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're trying to integrate not only pathology, like you're trying to integrate a PowerPoint slide with a pathology viewer, with a radiology viewer, with a MP4 viewer, and also trying to see if we can get an HTML converter built into the system so that people can edit those slides within the system. That has been a very big challenge, but we have overcome most of them. So the seamless way the whole system works makes it look very simplistic currently, but to get to that simplistic approach took us almost like 6 months to a year.
Okay.
To make sure that this integration of a pathology viewer, a radiology viewer, and even a side-by-side pathology and radiology viewer with PowerPoint slides was a very big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first challenge. And the second challenge has always been, how do you upload these huge images from anywhere in the world into the cloud actually?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have to make sure that when people are uploading these slides, they're coming from so many different kinds of scanners. So you might have a Philips scanner, you might have an Aperio scanner, you might have a Hamamatsu scanner, a 3D STEC scanner, and all these image formats are different. So trying to make sure that no matter what scanner you have, how do you easily upload these images into the cloud, and then also make sure that none of the patient information is then visible on the slides, was another big technological challenge which we have overcome for most of the times. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there is still, like, you might face an issue when you're uploading a slide. Most of the times people will send us an email that Raj, we cannot do this. So my technical team will then go online and see what the issue is, and then try to help that person, and then also overcome the issue for everybody around the world.
Okay.
So those are the two main big challenges that we are always facing actually.
Mm-hmm. So now, apart from the platform and from the teaching, like for you, for your everyday practice, what is the thing in digital pathology that will change the everyday pathology practice? What is the thing that's gonna make it all easier and better?
So what I have always been proposing is, like, if you talk to the pathologist of today,
Mm-hmm.
why are they not very comfortable in using digital pathology? Because we have been trained with microscopes. We have been working with microscopes forever. So we are very comfortable with the microscope.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to like do the same thing for our residents and fellows actually. So we have to make sure that they get used to digital pathology when they are in training.
Mm-hmm.
If they start looking at a lot of cases using digital pathology while they are in training, they will become comfortable with it to an extent that they will not like to use the microscope. Because if you talk to anybody who has started using digital pathology for 3 to 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
they are never going to go back to a microscope.
I am in that group.
Yeah, definitely. So that is the only way I think digital pathology will come into the system. And how do you do that is by bringing it into the training basically. So if
Mm-hmm.
you bring digital pathology into the training programs of every pathology institution and department around the world, that is what is going to change and get the acceptance of digital pathology worldwide.
Okay. So the training programs. Anything else that I should have asked and I didn't ask? Anything else that you want to tell the listeners about? I know you have different projects also going on. I don't know if you want to go there.
Like we are trying to the whole goal has always been to make sure that we can get information to everyone around the world easily. So we have started creating a publication platform, which is through which we are trying to give pathologists and clinicians around the world the ability to create their own books and market them on their own, so that they get the entire benefit of all the hard work that goes into writing or building a book.
Uh-huh.
And also like making it available to people all around the world. So that is another initiative that we will soon launch with the first book. I think in a couple of weeks it should be out.
Mm-hmm.
And also like the other thing that if anybody in the world, I think there is no excuse now for people to say that we do not have the material for learning and training in pathology, because we have made sure that the material is available for everyone around the world. And it is all available on the PathPresenter systems, and it is a free platform. There is no money involved. You just log in and you get access to all these tools and all these slides. So hopefully the more people can take advantage of all the hard work and effort that has gone into this, the more we would love it. And we would also love to hear feedback from people, what issues they face and what other things they would like to see built into the system, so that we can then gauge whether that feedback is good and then try to bring that into the system for making it more useful for all my colleagues around the world.
Mm-hmm. So tell the listeners where they can find PathPresenter online.
So it is very easy, just like pathpresenter.net, and even if you Google PathPresenter, the first link that is going to open up, I think, is to the platform. So even if you type in pathpresenter.com, it will still direct you to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be easy to find. Yep. And the publication platform is publications.pathpresenter.net. That will go live in a couple of weeks actually.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm very interested. Raj, thank you so much for joining me for the podcast. Thank you for telling us and the listeners about this platform. Like you said, no excuse for not learning because everything is there.
Yeah, everything is there and free.
Exactly. So I will stay in touch with you. I hope in the future we can also add a veterinary pathology module to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yep.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for that opportunity and the time to talk to you. You're doing a spectacular job.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for listening. For more great digital pathology resources, visit the Digital Pathology Consulting website and subscribe to our newsletter on digitalpathologyconsulting.com. After subscribing, you will get access to the free annotation guidelines, which will help you annotate slides consistently in all your digital pathology projects. Talk to you in the next episode.